right now, looking to qualify for our Players' Championship at the end of the year. Hicks is on your right. Blue-red Delver Mirror. Should be fun. Definitely should be interesting. And I think we'll see some players draw 3 cards or so as we move forward.
Both these players with a fair amount of permission as well, and I imagine Treasure Cruise is one of the cards you want to fight over the most.
I think chances are high. You don't want to let that one resolve. Volcanic Island is what Hicks will get as we begin our quarterfinals. Polluted Delta's land he used to search for that, so he's going to be at 19 to start the show. And it's interesting, I just don't know what cards, you know, a young Pyromancer has the ability to run away with a game. I think we know that. It might be the most important card. And I do wonder how important the cantrips are. Here's Ponder, you know, do you fight over Treasure Cruise? Do you care about Monastery Swisser? I think it can kill you pretty quick.
I have to imagine young Pyromancer is the real key to the matchup, because all the other threats don't matter in the face of it.
Hicks is going to keep his card. Bertoncini is going to draw his. See what Alice can put together on the first turn of this game. There's an island. Perhaps some cantripping for him, or is it time to lead off with a Delver? It's a Delver to start things off. Don't know how long that is for this world. It's not long at all. It's been dazed.
Which really probably isn't that bad for Alex here, because I feel like, again, not the most important threat in the matchup, and Steven being behind on land drop is nice for Alex as well.
Now, something you traditionally find in Delver decks is the card Wasteland. You're not going to find that in this blue-red Delver deck. Here's a Days on Gataxian Probe. Well, okay then. Now here's a Ponder.
And it looks like Steven is setting up for a very fast Treasure Cruise.
Yes.
This Ponder going to the graveyard will be card number 5. Is more cantrips of Polluted Delta. You can see him do a quick count there.
Yep. This is what maybe Legacy has become now. You see Volcanic Island, I think a Treasure Cruise and a Force Will. It looks like Hicks is going to shuffle with the Ponder, so he'd rather have a mystery card than the cards he saw on top of his deck.
I think he may already have a Treasure Cruise, the second one much worse, at least for the time being.
Yeah. I do wonder how cruises work in multiples, since, you know, you do delve most of your graveyard to cast the first one, especially if you're trying to play around a card like Days. Mystery card is a Monastery Swiftspear. Hicks already played his land for the turn, so he'll pass the turn back.
And that was a very aggressive use of Days by Alex there.
I think an aggressive use of Days by both players, honestly.
Well, a random card versus one of the Delvers, I think they're 2 different resources, 2 different assets.
Polluted Delta comes down here for Hicks. Don't forget, when we do have updates for you guys to know the matches, we will bring them to you, as there is a Monastery Swiftspear. We also do have some trivia to give away this evening. 3-month question after this first game. Here's Gataxian Probe. You see a Ponder, a Lightning Bolt, a Chain Lightning, a Young Pyromancer, and a Wooded Foothills there for Alex.
And if Steven is able to fire off this Treasure Cruise, which is in the clear, and find an answer to the Young Pyromancer, he might run away with this game.
Another Swiftspear has been found. Looks like he's going to sacrifice the Delta. Volcanic Island is the weapon of choice. Again, don't have to worry about Wasteland from either side, so can happily search up non-basics.
The deck has so many cheap spells across both colors that Wasteland is not realistic. It doesn't provide any mana functionally for the deck, so can't afford to play it.
Perhaps it's time to go for a cruise? Swiftspear instead. Here's an attack for 2. Actually, 3. One of them is a 2/3 because of Gataxian Probe. Hicks will pass the turn back over to Bertoncini. Bertoncini will check with Delver. It is flipping. It's a Daze.
Very good for Steven to know about.
Yes.
He can still pay for the Treasure Cruise next turn, though it may complicate matters in terms of killing the Young Pyromancer, because that's got to be a priority.
Alex going to start off with a Ponder for this turn. So take a look at the top 3.
Seems like Alex is loath to commit the Young Pyromancer in the dark, which makes some amount of sense. Trying to set up a scenario where he can play a third land, Young Pyromancer, cast something, and at least get some reward, even if Steven has a removal spell at the ready.
Looks like he wants to keep with the Ponder, and he will. So that card's added to the grip. Looks like it may have been another copy of Young Pyromancer. Going to sacrifice the Wooded Foothills and take 1. Volcanic Island is his weapon of choice. We'll see what Bertoncini will be doing after this. Again, he does have a copy of Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning in hand, so he can get one of those Swiftspears off the table if he'd like.
I think he has to, because Steven is representing a potential big turn next turn with the Treasure Cruise.
Swiftspear is horrifying.
Yep.
You get to untap with it and just do your thing. Gonna attack you for 6. There's a Chain. That's going to go away. Here's an attack for 3 in the air. Hicks is going to go down to 11. Scalding Tarn is the draw. Hey, that's another card for the graveyard. Beep, beep. Time to go on a cruise.
So how good is the second treasure cruise? Well, there's a Tarn at the ready and 2 cards already in the graveyard, so maybe 2 turns away from firing off another one if he finds it.
There's a Swift Spear. And he's going to sacrifice this. Jeez.
So that's 3 cards.
I played a pickup game with this deck at Grand Prix Orlando Friday before we started working in coverage. And it seemed pretty explosive, but now that I'm really seeing it in action, I only got to play 1 game really quick. Now I'm seeing it in action. This is feels like a well-oiled machine.
The rounds that I got to watch this deck initially on camera, it was not going off with the Swift Spear as much. It was just Delver and then Treasure Cruising.
Sure.
This is the first time I've really seen the Swift Spears take over a game.
Pretty healthy attack there from the Swift Spears. One bigger than the other, but it looks like it was an attack there for 5, I believe, as Brainstorm was countered from Daze. But, geez, these things are not messing around.
Like I said, it feels in the mirror match like Insectile Aberration might be the least relevant threat.
Yeah, I mean, Swift Spear grows really fast, and then, of course, Young Pyromancer can just run away with a game. If you get a turn untapped with Young Pyromancer, there's probably going to be 4 elementals out there.
Yeah.
And that's all that it takes. And that was kind of crazy to think, but Alex might be too far behind to actually have a Young Pyromancer turn.
He may just have to spend his turn casting removal.
Yeah, which is weird to think. But the fact that, you would expect a card like Monastery Swift Spear, just when you play a spell like Prowess, it would just pump the front end all the time, but it's both sides. So Young Pyromancer, Steven casts 1 spell, it's 2/3. Young Pyromancer doesn't even get to trade with it. It seems like a really, really rough spot. Because as you mentioned, the Delver, at best right now, it gets to trade, maybe?
Imagine the board goes unchecked next turn. Steven has a Bolt that's 3 damage to Alex plus 2 pumps, plus the 2 power that's already in play. So that's 7 points. He needs 2 other spells on top of it.
There's Young Pyromancer. You see Steven's hand. He's got another Treasure Cruise, a Force of Will, and Delver Secrets. Who knows what he's going to draw? He might have some interest in trying to force this, and he does. That, of course, adds another card to the graveyard. Take a draw. Didn't get a great look at it. Drew pretty quick. It's a Mountain. I suppose, beep, beep, we go for a cruise. So this is what Legacy's become, huh? Draw 1, 2, 3. Couple copies of Young Pyromancer. A Ponder, too.
Although those draws really of no help, and Steven potentially facing lethal next turn if Alex has 1 more Bolt.
Yeah, that's true. And I think he does have a Lightning Bolt in his hand right now, so here's a Ponder. 1, and 2, and 3. He's already played his land for the turn, so you see there's a Lightning Bolt there. He's going to have to send this back.
So the Cruise is a spell, as is the Ponder. So there's 2 triggers here. So you have 6 points of damage, which is well short of lethal, meaning that Steven needs to run off something like running Ataxian Probes?
I think that's what it takes, especially because he's already played a land for the turn. Let's see what he draws. Oh, Ataxian Probe. Well, might be what he needs. Yep. Take a look at the grip. I think he already knows the contents, so there's an attack for 8. And if he does know the contents, yeah, he just knows that he's beat.
Yep.
Because Alex has a Lightning Bolt in his hand. So Hicks is going to pick up his permanents because he knows that he is dead on the attack. So Alex Bertoncini is going to win game number 1 here over Steven Hicks in the blue-red Delver Mirror. Before we do get to sideboarding, we're going to come back to us very quickly because it is trivia time, my friend. And that means that you have the rules and I have a question.
So I'm just going to ask you a question. Tweet your answer at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium. Of the correct responses, one will be selected at random for 3 months of Star City Games premium content. It is about accuracy, not speed, so don't worry about submitting your answer first, just accurately. And please keep in mind, this giveaway is run at the sole discretion of StarCityGames.com, and that Twitch TV is in no way affiliated with giveaways or contests on its stream.
We are having a Grand Prix in New Jersey. It's going to be a...
The question is, why is New Jersey so awesome?
There's not enough characters because it's so awesome on Twitter. Wow. There you go.
Go ahead with your question.
We're having a Grand Prix in New Jersey next month, and I'll be joined by this guy, Patrick Sullivan, and someone else in the booth. a third person
number
in
three?
the booth. Who's number 3 if you want to use his Twitter handle
He
to
likes
blow
that.
up his phone and his Twitter? He likes that.
And we love that.
We do. So, again, who will be joining Patrick and I in the booth for Grand Prix New Jersey? Name that third person. Hashtag your answer with the hashtag of SCG Premium. Make sure you're following SCG Live, and we'll announce the winner at the conclusion of our quarterfinal round. As we do head back down to the match, we take a look at the sideboards here. Now, they're not the exact same. We'll take a look at Stephen Hicks' first. See the 2 cages, the null rod, the needle, the 2 copies of Grim Lava Match, 2 Blood Moons, 2 Vortexes, 3 Pyroblasts, a Smash Smithereens, and a Rough Tumble. I imagine you like the Lava Mancers.
Lava Mancers and the Red Blasts.
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple. Nothing else here provides much utility. The Red Blasts and the Lava Mancers are both very good.
Alex Society's got 2 cages of his own, a needle, 2 Lava Mancers of his own, 2 Blood Moons, a Vortex, 3 Price of Progress, 3 Pyroblast, and a Smash Smithereens. About the same thing?
Rewind this tape 15 seconds, and you get the same answer.
Perfect, got it. Pretty easy stuff.
Yep.
This match is kind of weird.
It is.
It felt like Stephen Hicks was crushing Alex, but like he didn't draw a bolt to kill the Delver or anything, and he had to pay a decent amount of life to do some of his things, so then he just ended up, you know, just kind of dying to the 3-2 flyer.
Yeah, Steven never found a removal spell.
Yeah.
So.
It was kind of weird in that aspect.
Feel like if Steven found a removal spell, he would have been totally fine.
I think so.
He just didn't have enough time to get a payoff from the cards he drew. His second Treasure Cruise was really bad, finding 2 copies of Young Pyromancer when his back was against the wall. So that Treasure Cruise almost doesn't count as 3 cards.
Of course, our other matches, when we do have updates for you guys, we'll let you know again. Ben Glancy playing Esper Deathblade against Christopher Tsitsin playing Miracles is our 1 versus 8. Jonathan Morowski, our number 3, versus Nicholas Malatesta playing Elves. It's an Elves mirror there. And then we have Joan Anton Mateo playing Teamer Delver against Noah Walker playing Grixis Delver. Walker are 2, Mateo are 7. Again, when we do have updates on any of those matches, we'll let you guys know at home.
There might not be a match in Legacy faster than the Elves mirror. I guess things like the Charbelcher mirror, but it's pretty close.
Belcher's mirror is nice.
Yeah.
Who's dead? Me? Cool. That's
so
cool.
If it's a Belcher mirror and you win or you lose, do you say good match afterwards? What's the etiquette for that? What's even the point, you know?
It's tough to say. I think you could say good game because, you know, your opponent does what you do. So
Luis Scott Vargas was talking to me after a match once where he was playing against Belcher in a Grand Prix, and it's game 3, and the guy says, hey, let's have a good game. And Luis is like, it's a nice thing to say, right? But Luis is thinking, what the hell does that even mean? Yeah. You're playing Charbelcher. What does that even mean?
Let's have a real back and forth. You and me.
Let's play some fun Magic.
Oh, you're dead. Well, I enjoyed that.
Yep.
Did you?
Let's put our hands on the table and declare a winner.
Yeah. Hey, that's what it's all about, baby. Give me that Belcher mirror anytime. I miss playing that deck. I really do. I enjoyed that. Here's a Delver Secrets to fire it up. Delver's interesting because I don't think it's a card that you can really sideboard out, and I don't think it's great in the matchup, but, you know, it played a role in the last game, right?
Yep. There's probably worse cards. I imagine Force of Will just stinks in this matchup.
Yeah, it's got to be true. There's a Grim Lava Mancer. See if Hicks has a removal spell for this. It's pretty important that he gets that off the table. I think that is of the utmost importance here.
He's got some red cards. I don't know if they're the right ones.
For his sake, he's got to hope he's got red mana. Hicks going to take a look at the top card. Grim Lava Mancer is what he drew, so no Delver's flipping here. He does have a fetch land. There's a mountain. There's a Lava Mancer. His other red card's a young Pyromancer. And Delver will not be attacking.
That is surprising to me because I think that Steven would be thrilled if Alex traded his Grim Lava Mancer for a Delver.
I would be attacking my Delver there 100% of the time. I want that Grim Lava Mancer off the table, whatever it takes to do that. Here's a Gataxian Probe. Polluted Delta, Treasure Cruise, Young Pyromancer, and an Island.
So many things facilitate Treasure Cruise in Legacy, including all of your creatures being mowed down by a Grim Lava Mancer.
Yep.
Alex also has drawn a Fork Bolt. Now he has to decide if this is even worth his time.
Jeez. There's an Island. Yep, Fork Bolt, your face. Get those things out of here. Get you for 1. Back to Hicks we go. Draws a card. It's a copy of Pyroblast. There's a polluted delta. This is a young pyromancer. That's right into the face of a Grim Lavamancer, though.
I was going to say, I didn't necessarily like that fork bolt play from Alex because why not just use your Lavamancer? But Alex has a second Lavamancer in hand, so it makes sense for him to try to protect his life total.
Sure.
Even if Steven untaps and rips a removal spell for the Lavamancer, Alex's fires back with a second one, so the fork bolt play makes a lot more sense.
I think the thought process here is I can load up my graveyard for Treasure Cruise. He's going to sacrifice a fetch land here. Pretty safe to go get Volcanic Island, so he will go grab that.
Yeah, with the blue-red Delver decks, there's this weirdness where, like, sometimes you want to fetch your basics because not all of your fetch lands get all of your basics. So you want to leave the Volcanics in your deck so you can always get something with your fetch lands.
Joan Anton Mateo up a game here over Noah Walker. Teamer Delver up a game over Grixis Delver. There's a Delver of Secrets. Bertoncini will draw a card. There's a Misty Rainforest.
I get what Steven is trying to accomplish here, but this Treasure Cruise isn't very good if he has to lose 4 creatures along the way to set it up.
I'm inclined to agree. Because even if he does get to resolve Treasure Cruise, now he's just back on the same number of cards that Alex has.
Well, Alex
might have more.
Yeah.
He's not actually using cards. He's just using his Lavamancer to kill stuff.
Yeah, the Fork Bolt, that was 2 creatures down, and this Lavamancer is now 2 creatures down.
There's young Pyromancer. Pass the turn back. Hicks is going to draw a card. Looks like it's going to be a Swift Spear. And now he can cruise. So he will draw 3 cards. So Days of Tarn, another copy of Treasure Cruise.
And that turn, even though it didn't end up mattering, I think that I would have not played the Swift Spear first and just cruised with 2 mana up, because it's so important for Steven to be able to cast a removal spell if he draws one, and he may draw a Ponder or a Brainstorm, which gives him another look at it. So I don't think the 2 points of damage is worth giving himself the maximum number of looks at something like Fork Bolt, Lightning Bolt, or Chain Lightning.
Yeah, especially when it's like this, Swift Spear is just going to die this turn.
Again, yes, that's the other thing here is the Swift Spear is just another thing to be killed.
And it is now dead. Another card for the graveyard for Treasure Cruise. Work your way towards another one of those. And you can see Hicks with the Daze and the Pyroblast in hand. So there's an Elemental token. And there's Swift Spear. Everybody. Maybe. Yes. 2, 3, 4. Hicks down to 13.
And Alex still with a close to loaded hand here.
Looks like Lightning Bolt was the draw. There's a Scalding Tarn.
So he can bolt something, sacrifice the fetch land, cruise again.
And reload up. That's on the stack. See what happens here. It looks like Alex is going to cast a Daze. Steven's going to pay, but Alex just wants another Elemental token.
Daze is not doing much else, so
Yeah, that's fair.
go get another homie.
And all Hicks can do is just pass the turn back. 2 cards in the graveyard now for Bertoncini. There's a Volcanic Island from the Daze, so that's get replayed. There's another Swift Spear. Yeah. Shrug their shoulders, can't do much about it. It's time to start attacking. It'll be an attack for 5. Hicks is going down to 8. Make it 7 with the fetch land.
I think the leftovers in Alex's hand here don't seem that good. I think it's another creature or Treasure Cruise he's not close to casting, but he's got all he needs on the table.
Yeah. Steven Hicks' life for a Pyroclasm. Take a draw. Oh, there's a Ponder. Pyroblast, Volcanic Island. Looks like maybe a Lightning Bolt as well. That could be helpful. We'll see what he wants to do with him here in just a moment as he consults his hand.
The thing is, the way these decks are set up, there's no huge catch-up card, you know? The closest thing is Fork Bolt, I guess, but again, too little, too late.
Mystery draw. Looks like it's a Gataxian Probe.
And mystery into mystery.
Indeed. It could become anything. Treasure Cruise, Grimlavamancer, Treasure Cruise. A touch awkward.
Well, the only reason Alex hasn't been treasure cruising is because he's been generating card advantage in a different way.
He's been eating cards alive with Grimlavamancer. Lightning Bolt is the draw, it looks like. Take care of a Swift Spear. Gonna use a mountain to do that instead of Volcanic Island. And you cruise, you lose. There goes the whole bin. Hicks knows he's clear for takeoff to do all of these things. There's a Swift Spear. Young Pyromancer and some other stuff.
The Lavamancer has been the trump.
Not much of a surprise there, truthfully.
Yeah.
And there's Swift Spirit's going to try to play a little defense, pass the turn back. Lavamancer's probably going to have to go after that just to clear the road.
Yeah, which is a small benefit for Steve because it means that Alex is even further away from treasure cruising, but he needs to find so much removal or try to get Young Pyromancer online next turn to generate a bunch of chump blockers and hope that Alex never finds random bolts to finish the game off.
I'm imagining I get a basic mountain here. Looks like Alex is going to cruise, but a daze, perhaps?
Which is really nice for a number of reasons here, though. Let's see what Alex's response is, but he gets the Swift Spear out of Lavamancer range.
Prowess trigger and all that jazz. It looks like Alex is going to be able to pay for the daze. So 3 cards here for him.
Now, if he can't make much of an attack this turn, I guess he still can.
Still a decent attack, yeah. Gonna eat this elemental token. Just pass the turn back. Hicks is down to 4.
If he can play Young Pyromancer and kill the Lavamancer,
He's got a shot.
he's got a shot. If he can't kill the Lavamancer, forget about it.
That's what he's got to hope for. There's an island to start. That's a Young Pyromancer. I think he's just going to pass the turn back, so not the best turn we've ever seen.
Yeah, his hand, again, just a land, a Treasure Cruise, and a Pyroblast, so. To reiterate, if he had a removal spell there, I think that we'd at least play on a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's going to be able to weather the storm of what Alex has left over.
See what Alex is going to lead his turn off with. Looks like it might be Delver Secrets. It is. So looks like that's going to resolve.
Alex still has to respect the possibility of Steven being able to cast stuff.
Of course, of course. He's resolved a couple Treasure Cruises after all. Looks like he's going to daze this.
I think this is just to get a Swift Spear trigger plus another card in the graveyard.
Sure. He's going to pay for the daze. He's going to daze this. Just get the cards into the bin for Lavamancer, too. Now here's a Pyroblast.
I believe that he cast that off of blue. Not that that matters too much.
We'll need a red mana for that, yes.
Yeah.
So we will get that fixed. There we go.
You're in the top 4. Join me right here, please.
Not a hybrid mana Pyroblast yet.
No.
It's not guttural response.
The whole gutter ball.
Yeah. Not that guttural response could counter that, but that's neither here nor there.
Alex doesn't have to get that aggressive this turn because he always has the out of just say go, should you Lavamancer, untap, should you Lavamancer.
He doesn't have to do anything too crazy. And he'll still just be perfectly fine. So there goes the Delver.
And that's the 4th card in the graveyard, so now there's plenty of fuel for the Lavamancer.
Yep. And looks like he's going upstairs with this.
Doing it on the main phase out of the respect for Stifle, I would imagine.
Yeah, but I mean, they both have access to each other's deck lists, so they know there's no Stifles there. So
Okay.
I'm a little confused by the main phase activation, I guess.
Can't really harm him. I mean, yes, it's not great
Because
operations.
he has mana floating.
Okay.
That makes more sense, yeah. There's another Grim Lavamancer. Forked Bolt, where are you?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of deploying the second Lavamancer because if Steven does find Fork Bolt, it could get a little messy. And he has to kill a Lavamancer with the Fork Bolt if he draws one anyway. He can't afford to hold it.
Scalding Tarn. And now we will see what happens. I think he's going to have to try to cruise here. Yeah, his hand's Treasure Cruising Grim Lavamancer. This is a 3rd Treasure Cruise for Hicks this game.
This deck can reload its graveyard so fast.
Yeah, it's kind of silly,
Unbelievable.
Hit 1 and 2 bolts and 3 Brainstorm.
Brainstorm gives another look at Fork Bolt.
Yep. That's what he's got to go for. He's already played a land. So I think that's the way he has to go.
I guess the upshot of Alex playing the second Lavamancer is the game could get hairy just with 1 Lightning Bolt from Steven. Untapping and recasting a Lavamancer may not be good enough.
Brainstorm, Foothills, Days. Yeah, I mean, there's ups and downs to it, right? If he Fork Bolts you, it's a disaster. If you just save the Lavamancer and then he Lightning Bolts that, he gets a whole nother turn to play Magic, so.
Yeah, it's a bit of a risk from Alex, but it is not. My first instinct was, I think that might just be a mistake. Now, looking at the implications of Steven drawing just 1 removal spell, I think that Alex may have been right.
Either way, Alex Bertoncini is going to win this match 2-0 in the Blue-Red Delver Mirror. He moves on to our semifinals, and he'll play the winner, Ben Glancy, playing Esper Deathblade, a deck Alex is very familiar with.